Amy K. Nelson here in New Orleans at the Final Four for SB Nation, and right now I'm joined by Steve Fisher, head coach at San Diego State. How are you?
Hi Amy, I'm doing great, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Real quick, now I know that New Orleans is sort of a mixed emotion for you potentially, and I know you've been asked a lot about this since coming here, but almost 20 years ago it was the Chris Webber timeout game. How does that sit with you now, nearly 20 years later, coming back to the city where it happened?
You know, Amy, what I remember more about New Orleans 20 years ago? Beating Kentucky in the semifinals when they were like this year's Kentucky. The odds-on prohibitive favorite to win the national championship had won 4 games by an average of 30 points a game, led by Jamal Mashburn, and they were sensational. We won the game in overtime thanks to Chris Webber. We had a 17-second span where I'd like to forget, but everybody talks about that first and foremost, and that's part of obviously what happens when you play for the national championship and you take a timeout you don't have. But the memories I have of New Orleans are, for the most part, really, really positive.
Well, let's just get to this year's tournament. If you could handicap the 2 games that are happening on Saturday, how would you? Let's start off with Louisville and Kentucky. How do you break that down?
Well, I have not watched either team that closely, but what little I've seen, Kentucky will be hard to beat. Now, can they be beaten? Absolutely. But if I had to say who do I think would win, should win, it would be Kentucky. The other game, I would have to say a little more flip a coin. But if I'm put to the test, I would say Ohio State, especially if Sullinger plays the way he's played in the last couple of games.
Who's more important, do you think, Robinson or Sullinger?
Yes.
Great answer.
They are equally important to their team. Neither one of them will be here without that player. So they will be key to their team without a doubt.
Okay. And real quickly, I know everyone's looking forward to this Louisville-Kentucky matchup, but to you, do you think you're more interested in Louisville versus Kentucky or Calipari versus Pitino?
You watch the teams. You know.
I thought you were going to say the coaching drama.
The coaches don't play, and that makes good TV talk. And when they get going, only if they get a technical and jump up and start screaming will you really notice the coaches all that much. They'll be talked about, but the show will be on the floor between the players.
Final question: have you bought a Mega Millions ticket?
I have not, and I probably won't.
No plans?
No plans. No.
Okay, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us. That's it right now from New Orleans. Don't forget to subscribe to SB Nation.